Hey, everybody, and welcome back again this week for our Loud Thumbs limited series, Halo, the television series, episode 7. And we have decided that this episode did not have enough Chief. So if you would like to see more Chief in
his helmet,
anything with his helmet on, please tune into our YouTube channel. We have him right here, helmet and all. Yep. He is ready to go with us. He is the trio today. He has joined us for the podcast. Because who doesn't need more Chief in their life? I need more. Give us
more, please.
Because the show's not giving us enough of that. Let's just start with that, because this whole episode was all about Quan and Soren, and I don't know where they're going with it. It was a flat out terrible episode. Like none of it really helped anything. It's playing with a subplot that I know the both of us don't give a shit about. Yeah. We don't want to see it.
No, if there's some other, like if there's supposed to be something from this subplot connecting to the rest of the Halo series, we have yet to see it.
They didn't tell us what it was in this episode.
And I feel like this is taking way too damn long. Like
we keep saying that every episode.
I do.
Heather especially. She's less patient.
Yes.
But it is taking too long for things. But I'm already prepped. I've said it every time already. I'll say it one more time again. The show's going to end on a Halo. Like that's it. It's going to be the culmination. Done. But this had nothing to do with progression. This didn't even feel like a Driver episode, like I've been calling them. It felt like a static episode.
Filler episode.
It's just, I might as well just listen to static for 45, 50 minutes, because the episode starts off in another flashback. Here, we're sticking with the theme, guys. Let's flashback it again. And this time it's a flashback of Quan. So Heather's already bored over here yawning. She doesn't even want to talk about this episode. She's so tired. But, it's like it starts off with her in a backstory 2 years previous to the beginning of the show. And she's just having a dinner with her family. And a boy shows up who is now working for part of the, rebels. And they invite him in for dinner. And she starts having a conversation with him. And she's having this is one thing I do want to say I don't like about some shows, where they mix English and their language, where they mix it often. It drives me nuts. Just leave it subtitled in their language, or just speak English, because it makes it hard to follow. And actually, at some points in this one, the subtitles were on the screen, and there's also the embedded subtitles of their language being spoken to English for us to read, and they're kind of just overlapping each other at times. It's ridiculous. Stop doing that. But the family speaking in their language, and then everybody else is speaking English. This boy speaking English, Quan speaking both, her dad speaking both. It's just so much going on. It essentially comes down to that she's standing up for the people of Madrigal, but she's not happy with her father because he's lying to them. She feels like she's been lied to the whole time about something that they haven't told you at the beginning. So you're still lost again in the beginning. And now she gets upset with her father. If you're at least going to feed your warriors or your soldiers, don't feed them lies. Right.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, a little bit of good writing, okay. But it was like pointless. Like, what's this whole thing about for this flashback? Did you feel the flashback was pointless too?
Yeah.
I mean, let's not get into the whole episode, but like
the flashback, nothing came from the flashback. Like, you just saw her eating with her family.
Right. But nothing, even to the point where she has the vision later and talks with her father, nothing connected to the flashback. Like, what did the flashback mean? Why did they start with the flashback?
I think just because they start every episode with a flashback.
But is there a legitimate reason? The other ones have a reason I could put on them, to show Chief being, this hero at 10 years old or something. And now they're showing this flashback, showing that
maybe it was just showing the dynamic with her dad. Like, because she was rather irritated with him, and she felt like he's feeding everyone lies.
I don't think so. I don't know. I didn't feel it. Like, I felt like, sure, there was some writing between the father and daughter, but it was more of a like, hey, I'm mad at you because you're not telling people the truth, and you should.
Mm.
So maybe it was because they're trying to show you her standing up for her people. Like she would be more of a leader than her father, a better leader. Like if I have to dig so hard to find that connection though, because later he says a couple things which we'll talk about. But I'm digging to figure out why this flashback needed to be in there. Period. It didn't make any sense to me.
Me either.
And then we kind of flash to Soren, who's kind of we're in the episode now, and he's having a party with his pals.
Yeah, he's back on his home planet.
Yeah, he's back on his rocks. And there's just a little bit of back and forth with him and like one of his partners, they call him. Squirrel's his name. Yeah, real cool name. Squirrel. It's a cool gangster name. It's just it's a Halo gangster name. Squirrel. What's up?
And my name.
And yeah, they kind of get in a little bit of spat, right?
Yep.
You see that more or less all Soren is he's a Spartan soprano, right?
Yeah. He's a gangsta Spartan.
He's like, Tony Spartan Soprano. You know what I mean? Tony Soren Spartan
Soprano.
Whatever. He's basically just a gangster.
Sporano. That's like Spartan.
Sporano.
Yeah.
Soprano. But he's that's what he is. Like you kind of just realize then, like, okay, he's basically just a dude out to get money, and he's a mercenary. He's a gangster, but he's a mercenary.
Yeah.
He has this like all these croonies, and then this like area that he owns and whatnot. They're just kind of showing that more and more. We've already seen it. Whoop-de-doo. I don't think we needed to see it anymore.
Yeah.
Same shit with the people riding the motorcycles down through everything. Like I don't get that. It makes no sense. Like we already know it's like Demolition Man. Stop showing it to us. Like we get it. You're all like free and to do whatever you want. So you're going to ride motorcycles down a narrow ass hallway and run into people and
on a rock.
And people are going to get annoyed with you. But it's like, wait a minute, why don't you even let them ride that shit? Like, well, come on. So just dumb little things like that. I don't think fit in the show. It fit in the world of Halo, honestly. Not even funny. Like if they did it in a funny way or something, it'd be okay. Show them running over little rats or some shit or making a game out of it or something. But anyway, Soren just having his little battle was a verbal battle. They're all kind of drinking and having a good time. Soren's telling his stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
His stories were lame.
Yeah.
They were very lame. And they all felt like lies. They kind of felt like Rhodey from Avengers, where he's always like, boom, there I am.
And everybody else laughs.
Yeah.
All the Avengers are like, that's not even
right. But it was at least funny to us as people. Like they had the opportunity, missed it with this character because they could have done stuff like that with Soren in this particular moment because he's just drunk telling stories to girls, and he thinks he's cool and whatnot. And his little croony squirrel thinks he's going to do something with this Quan to get the money, and he realizes, she's not back. He's missing his ship, and he has no money.
Yep.
So what's going on? Like we had a plan. We were going to do it, and then they do the double language again. They have like Hungarian being spoken, and then they have the English subtitles being spoken. So basically, the chick that's with Squirrel.
Yeah.
She's like, tell him the idea, tell him the thing, and he chickens out. Like he doesn't do it because he basically tells Soren that he's like, you've lost your step. Everybody thinks you've lost your step.
Yeah.
Soren kind of gets in his face, and they have a little bit of a moment. He's like, so how have I lost my step? Why don't you tell me? And then
he backs off.
He backs off. Gets a little scared and
he runs away.
And then it goes to the wife and him, and he's basically like, fear is the best motivator. That'll really motivate anybody. And believe me. Well, then we cut back to Quan, who, and Venture shows up in there too. Venture. I hate his name. But he shows up in his little car and trying to get
with the
Quan.
V in the headrest.
Yeah, it's like a fucking Yukon or something. It's a Chevy truck with like a V decked in it everywhere, like he's this cool dude or something. But he shows up and he's trying to find out where Quan is and what all's going on. He's talking to one of the women who was actually at the dinner table at the beginning. As one of the only connections to the flashback period, where I was like, okay, at least I know where she's from, I guess. And he basically gets as much information out of her as he can. And then he kills her. Done. Shoots her in the back, tells her she can leave, and caps her. Saw it coming. Totally called it. And then they just kind of head out, find out that she's alive. he triples the bounty on her. Soren finds out he tripled the bounty on her, which means that she's not dead. So now he's like, well, I got to go help her out. I thought she'd die or, by now or whatever.
Got to keep my promise.
But on his way, he runs into Squirrel in the elevator thingies, that the cool roller coasters in the rocks. And then him and Squirrel team up and they do this plan that Squirrel has. And then he kind of puts Squirrel in his place at that point, which is where he says the fear is a motivator thing.
Kind of, gets him underfoot.
Yeah, a little underfoot, a little play on words there. Basically just lowers a pallet onto his foot on a forklift and then won't let him go.
He just steps on his toes.
Yeah, little toe stepping. And that was pretty much the end of it. Like they went and stole slip space engines from a UNSC ship. So you assume that's going to come into play later somehow? Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I kind of feel like it because it's sort of silly to do the whole thing they did other than just show that Soren can set a pallet on a guy's foot and say, yeah, you think you can overstep me? It was like, come on, it was poor writing. And
but let's be realistic. They do a lot of things that don't mean anything later.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. So then we cut back to Quan. She is now driving toward a giant sandstorm in a miniature warthog kind of thing. It's just a Can-Am. That's all it is. It's a Can-Am that supposedly go like 100 mile an hour, which is crazy. Has really good brakes too, by the way, because it just straight up
on a dime was like done.
She's like, I see a shadow. Stop. Instantly. Just perfectly. And it turns out to be these, they call them the sandwiches, right? Am I right about this?
I can't be 100%.
A desert. Maybe it's a desert, but in my head, I was like, sandwiches, man. Come on.
That would have been really awesome if that is what they are called.
I don't remember 100%.
I can't say 100% because our daughter was wanting food at this point.
Yeah, there's a little bit more going on in the house. Exactly.
But we need to find that out because if that's the case, that's freaking hilarious.
I'll try and find it out while you talk a little bit more about what happened during that part of it. And I'll talk.
So Quan goes in with I'm going to call them the sandwiches.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't love a good sandwich?
Sure.
She goes in and takes this drink and then starts having visions. And in these visions, she sees Chief in front of her. And basically they're in like a fight club situation where she has to fight Chief. And then
it's all in her head.
And the one crazy guy from the beginning, when he told Chief, you're one of them, you're a demon, is there giving Quan like weapons to use. First it's a chain. And so she walks up with this chain and whacks Master Chief across the face. Does absolutely nothing, obviously. The next thing he hands her is a knife. Again, does absolutely nothing. A gun, nothing. And then like Quan picks up a rock and basically just disintegrates this rock over Master Chief. And of course, nothing happens to Master Chief. And then the next time you turn around and see Master Chief, he has no helmet on again.
Yeah. They went from Master Chief being a badass, like in this vision that he should be like in the whole show, like shouldn't be talking, should just be owning. I mean, at one point he grabbed the knife when she was trying to get him with it, and he just like grabs both of her hands at the same time and just picks her up and just stares her down. And then he kills her. Like he punches her right in the chest and kills her. Then she keeps waking up every time she dies.
And then
continue.
Okay. And then the next scene that you see is her and Master Chief walking through the desert, and he has no armor on, no helmet on. And she walks up to this, it looks like a well, but you see one of the, and I can't remember what they're called, the orbs that float around.
The orbs that float around.
In Halo, you have the orbs, and they can sometimes scan.
Oh, you're talking about 343, like Guilty Spark?
Guilty Spark. Yeah. You see one of those like float down into the well, and this guy starts talking to Quan, and she turns around and Master Chief's gone. Like that's literally all you saw of Master Chief this whole episode. And he probably had his helmet on for 10 seconds.
Yeah, and there was no dialogue.
Yeah, like no dialogue.
There was no talking Master Chief. It was literally him in this one particular fight tent that they did together. And she just kept fighting. I think she got killed 3 times or 4 times, something like that. and the crazy black guy from the prison ward medical center thing that Soren had him in was another person in her vision that kept coming to her, giving her different weapons. Like he gave her the knife, and then she picks up a rock later, and then I think to begin with she had nothing but the chain. Like he gave her the chain. I think he only gave her. Did he give her a gun at one point? Okay, I must have forgot the gun, but I'm like,
I just listed them all off earlier.
I heard you talking about him, but I didn't know if you mentioned that they had he gave her all those things and where he kind of came from. But it was just the vision thing didn't make sense to me, and it got clear to the end of it. And essentially, she looks at Chief's feet, though, like you're saying, before they go to the portal, and she's like, "What do you want? What am I supposed to do? What do you want?" And then it was like all of it changed. Like the witch lady gets all like kind of smirky, smiley, and then like Chief holds his hand out and takes her hand. Right. That seemed to be the only symbolic part of it, where it was like she gave up trying to fight, and she was like, "Now I'm trying to listen." Yeah. I'm asking questions, trying to get answers now instead of just fighting and demanding.
Right. And then that's when they were in the desert.
Yeah, that was the only symbolism of the vision for me. It was like, because the witches kept telling her before the vision, like your rage is like blinding you and all this kind of stuff. Let's see how your rage holds up, and gives her the chain and all this stuff. I've tried looking while you were talking. I can't find it anywhere what they call those women. But they're just witches in the desert, and they're sandwiches.
They're sandwiches. We are dubbing them sandwiches.
So I'm sure we'll see more of the sandwiches as we continue through the Halo series. They had too much, put into their outfits and garb and everything for it to mean nothing. And we end up continuing the episode where the portal, like you mentioned, the portal thing.
Yep.
I'm sure that's going to come into play. It's going to teleport you into some sort of a Halo. Who knows? We'll find out. Maybe. if they pick it up for enough seasons, because they're dragging everything out for far too long to get to an end. By the way, I overheard that there was an actual beginning to the show, and a number of seasons was thrown out as 9. But they've only picked up 2 seasons. So we could be seeing 9 seasons of this Halo series. And that's because they can't make the show in order. Like they can't make it in a compact fashion to explain everything in an hour. It takes 3 hours to explain something, or 10.
But they're also going to run into the problem where people aren't going to want to wait that long, and they're going to lose viewership, and they're never going to make it to 9 seasons.
That's what I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If because it doesn't matter as big as the IP is, you can burn people out, or you can just send them the wrong direction. Like, nah, I'm done. Like it might have had a huge following to start with, but it's going down.
Season 2 for me is hanging by a thread. Like I'm rather disappointed.
I've been reading again a little bit more for the sandwiches. They just call them the sage women of the desert. Sorry, that's too long. Sandwiches. The sandwiches are what really helped Kwan on her journey. Okay. The sustenance she needed, the water that they gave her,
because you always got to have something to drink with your sandwich.
Yeah. Peanut butter sandwich or something. You got to have some milk or some water. You got to have something. And it was strange. It didn't make sense. Then
she ends up seeing her dad.
Yes. Then the vision changes. Goes through all of her generation, right? Like you see all these different leaders of their magical
family,
warriors or whatever they want to call them. Which I don't think they explain that either. They call him a protector. That was what they kept saying. Like, you're a protector. She's like, what does that mean?
Yeah. The one like main sandwich told her that like her family it's always been in her family.
Right.
Like it's more than just your father.
Yeah, it's been generations. There's more of your family. And she was like, I'm all that's left of my family, which is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when she sees her father, she has a conversation. The father basically says, and they do another thing too. Like, I believe it was one line out of all of it was not in their language. And it was, I think, don't let them. It was like, why did you say that in English? Like, what are you doing? I don't get it. What? So in English, it means something more to say don't let them instead of saying it in your native tongue. Okay. It still make no sense. It happened way too often in this episode myself, particular took a little bit, not offense to it, but a little bit like annoyance from it. Like, what the hell? Like,
yeah, like
come on.
let's just pick a language and speak it.
Yes, please. So
I understand the aliens speaking in a different language because obviously they're aliens.
yeah, and they're not going to speak English yet,
right?
Not until we learn, how to, adapt their language or whatever happens there. But yeah, anyway, he tells her essentially not to let anybody don't go after the enemies, let them come to you. And that comes into play later. And then he basically says that she's stronger than him because she's done everything to this point alone, and he could have never done that. And then that's sort of the end of it. Like, she now has like this like newfound lease on life,
new purpose.
It's her new purpose to go on and be fulfilling her father's dreams, or her generation's overall destiny, or whatever they got to do. Because they seriously do not tell you, like, at all. Not a goddamn thing. Like, what is the portal? How do they activate it? What does it do? Why is she a protector?
Is it connected to the Halo?
It was like, hey, let me throw a bunch of questions at you, and no answers. So that's kind of where the episode was, as far as I was concerned. We do then jump back to some more Venture bullshit or whatever. And they know they know she's alive because they have some sort of tracker that, thankfully there is some crazy tech in 2600 where they can see her on Madrigal, back at the base, because her father in the vision also told her to go back where it all started from.
That's where it all began.
So she goes back to where the elites and everybody showed up at the very first episode and kills everybody. And she runs into Soren, more or less. She finds like a note that her dad wrote to her grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a picture of the portal on the back. And it just, even on that, it says, what is the portal for? Like, what the hell? Like, even
you're supposed to know.
He asked the question a generation ago, and his daughter still doesn't have the answer. And he didn't answer her in the vision or tell her in real life. So what the hell? Don't tell us either. This makes zero sense. The sandwiches didn't even have anything to say about it either. Good Lord. So it was just stupid. I did not like this episode. It was by far the worst episode. I would have watched episode 2 again over this one. Before I get to the final thoughts, I guess we'll talk more about what happens after that, which is not much. Soren and Quan now have a plan, more of a Quan plan, and Soren's like, okay, at least I get to kill people. Yeah, okay, let's go. That was pretty much his input on it all. But they want to get to the tower in the center of this hydrogen plant, basically, and blow it up. So when it explodes, it kills all of Venture's men that are around, because they can't kill them, one-on-one. There's no way. So that's the plan. And in the midst of all that, she finds a big old chunk of this delirium stuff, or I think that's what they called it anyway, their money.
Yeah.
And
there's in a lunchbox, just like a shit ton of it.
Like hidden underneath a console in like this computer tower area. And she's like, I told you I was rich or whatever. And he's like, holy shit, or something. And she's like, I'm going to crawl underneath the ground and I'm going to go over to that thing so they don't see me. And then I'm going to get out and I'm going to push a little button thingy and it's going to make it move because it's locked in place right now. So the hydrogen's not flowing.
Of course, conveniently.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, well, I'll go out here and get to kill some people. That sounds good. So that part was kind of cool. Like, I kind of liked that part. It did show Soren more of a badass, at least finally.
Yeah.
So it was a little tiny fun in the show.
There was actually some action.
It was a lot of killing.
There was even some alien tech used.
Yeah. Plasma grenade got used, which was dope.
I'm like, what the heck? It's not even Master Chief and we're freaking using plasma grenades.
Yeah, we did see those in the first episode too. And a little bit in episode 5 at the end. But yeah,
I think we saw more action in this episode, which didn't involve any of the Spartans or Master Chief, than we've seen in all of the other episodes.
No, episode 1 definitely had way more action.
Okay, besides episode 1, here's the thing: episode 1 so far is the unicorn of the series.
No, the end of episode 5, I think, was the unicorn of the series, because it was like the last 10 minutes, and it was like watching Halo.
Okay. I remember that now.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
The beginning of episode 1, where the invasion happened, was close and it felt really good. But episode's 5 ending was like, I'm watching Halo, the video game, on TV. Yes.
But how sad is it that you only have two partial episodes where you felt like that?
Oh, it's not a good thing. I mean, it's a bad thing 100%. But at least a little bit of action happened in this one.
Mhm.
And
That
the
was
si-
probably the best part of the episode.
there is no saving grace to this
No.
episode. It's not a good episode. But what was good was to see Soren be a badass, like
Mhm.
actually see him go out there and do, because I did do some reading up on Soren, and he's actually like, he's one of like the strongest Spartans that were ever created, even though he's all deformed and stuff. Like he's like super, super strong, like stronger than Chief. And you got to at least see a little bit of that going on.
Mhm.
He's stealthy, so he used some stealth kills, which is cool. Killed like
Yeah.
3 dudes with a knife,
It was
and
awesome.
that was pretty cool. He's a really good shot with his gold gun. I like to see that he was actually like, oh, okay, the guy can hold his own. Nice. He can also take a bullet and keep going. He got shot twice in the whole situation, so they kept that a little bit more realistic too. He's not like this unstoppable thing.
Mhm.
They slowed him down both times when that happened, but they thankfully happened at moments where, you know, I mean, I guess thankfully, I'm assuming he's going to become a big part of the show after this episode. They showed way too much of him for him not to be, and the same with Quan. That we'll see more of him because he kind of tore him up. He did a pretty good job.
Yeah, he did.
And you know, Venture's doing his like the typical bad guy thing, like the Bond in the
Mhm.
bad guy situation where he's like blah blah blah, the Soren this, the Soren that, and they're kind of spitting at each other, and you know,
Quan's running around hiding, trying to like get away, but still help Soren. And what does she find?
plasma grenade. Oh,
Yeah.
she finds Chief's gun too. Right right after the plasma grenade,
Yeah.
actually. But yeah, she finds the DMR right there underneath the area where she was hiding. She's back hiding in that same area again. And yeah, she rubs the dirt off of it, and you see 117 right on the DMR. I was like, oh, cool. I did not remember he dropped it. Heather remembered it, but I did not remember he lost his gun. And that's the gun she uses to fire at the hydrogen,
Blow it up.
blows the whole
baby.
damn thing up. Venture's dead now. He's dead.
He
Thank
gone.
God. Maybe I don't have to say his name anymore because I still don't know if I'm saying it right. So I
You are.
apologize. But
Venture.
yeah, I hate it. Hate the name. Hey, how it's spelled. Hey, how it's said. It's a bad. It's not a good bad guy name. Let me put it
No.
that way. But yeah, he gets like engulfed in flames, and he cannot be alive. If he's alive, I'm gonna be really pissed. So they survived because they made it to like a steel room.
Yeah.
The same room that
That
like all the kids were
everybody
killed
was
in by the
killed in,
elites.
yeah.
So apparently blasts don't go through the steel, but the energy swords do. So that's another thing to think of in the future, because not a whole lot's going to protect you from them energy swords. You're fucked.
You are fucked.
Watch out.
Yes.
And then they kind of have a little bit of a powwow with Quan and Soren, and she's like, I'm going to need somebody like you. And he's like, I'm sure you will. And then she's like, well, but seriously though. And he's like, oh, I'm not looking at, what does he say? I'm not looking at joining a failed project, or he says something along those lines. He's like,
Mhm.
you know, something, I'm not going to join something that's going to fail, more or less is what he says. I don't remember the exact quoted line. And she's like, I don't believe that. And he's like, mm-hmm. And he kind of turns around and walks away. He has his big old chunk of money.
Yep.
They made their deal, right?
Yep.
She
She
says,
said,
we're even.
I owe you a ship and a shitload of deuterium, so we're even.
Yep. And he's like, all right.
All right.
And he takes his money and he gets in the ship and bolts off. And she sticks around on Madrigal.
And that's it.
And yeah, the episode ends with it raining.
yeah.
It also rained in there. I guess I should say that too, which I guess was just a big deal because it's a desert
Doesn't
planet.
Rain in the desert.
Yeah, it doesn't rain in the desert. So all of a sudden it's raining after they blew up the hydrogen plant, which
makes sense.
Yeah, I maybe because it's just an atmospherical effect, I guess,
Mhm.
right? Something
Yeah.
happens in the atmosphere that causes the rain to start
Right.
happening, or something outstandingly more scientific that I don't know about, or it could just be completely fucked up and sci-fi Halo shit that they want to throw at it. Who knows? They're kind of throwing seat of their pants on this shit pretty consistently, honestly. So I want to see more Vision Chief, because he was the strong silent type and he killed over and over and over. But we're not going to see that. I know that.
Had a helmet on.
And he did have a helmet on all but like 3 or 4 minutes, thankfully. But he was only on screen for like 7 or 8. And he's been on this episode the entire episode. So make sure to tune into YouTube. There he is.
There he is.
We did not block him or take his helmet off. He is happy in his helmet.
Yes.
But I believe I did say previous 2 episodes that we were going to see this decline again. Now, last episode, Heather and I disagreed on. I thought it was a good episode, very story driven, but very driven as a story also. So good writing, pushed the story forward, gave us lots more answers and could see where we were going. And they just pull the wool over your damn eyes this time. I mean, they're just boom.
We're
We're
going in
done.
circles.
Yeah, it's up and down. It's not even in circles. It's not, circles are kind of fun, but up and down and in circles, hell no.
Yeah,
No.
that's kind of what we're doing. We're just going up and down the same mountain in a circle.
Yep. And
Like,
this was at the
We're
bottom of
not
the mountain.
going forward.
Yeah. No, I want to be at the top of the mountain, taking in the beautiful vistas and enjoying.
And we need to be that at the end of this,
Mhm.
or I don't know about season 2.
Next
You might
episode.
be on your own.
Next episode. That's fine. I'll talk about it by myself. Beware. Next episode, I say love story.
Ugh,
Here
no,
we come.
no.
Yep. Calling it. It's going to be McKee and Chief, and they're going to be doing some McKee chiefing. You know what I mean? Yeah. McKee chiefing. You get ready
I will
for
be
it.
severely disappointed, and I will probably have a very long rant if that happens. So be prepared.
Yep. Well, at least we always got sandwiches. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right. We have
We'll see
sandwiches.
more of them too, I'm sure. Because we're going to be back on Madrigal.
Or
because
we'll never
Quan's
see
still
them
there.
again.
No, we'll see plenty of them. I guarantee it. I guarantee we see more of them before the season's out.
We have
because
2 episodes.
this was 7. It's over at 9.
So we have 2 episodes.
2 more episodes to go.
They have
series is
2
over.
hours
Ish.
to redeem themselves.
Not going to happen for you. It might happen for me. It won't happen for Heather.
It takes them 3 episodes to tell one storyline and still leave me with questions. So
Yeah, they are at episode 1, good. Episode 2, not good. Episode 3,
Not good.
Not good. Episode 4, not,
Not
good.
good.
There's 3 in a row. Then episode 5, hey, all right, good ending,
We're getting
guys. Way to
there.
go. Right on. Episode 6, story driven. Good episode. Not for this one over here, but for me it was, and a lot of other people, but not the action like this one wants. I get it. Heather's an action girl. I love action too.
But we're Halo, like there should be.
But we did go to better. So we went good, good, and now bad again. So based off of that, we only have one more bad one. And then we might get a good one if we look at the trends, guys. We had 1 good, 3 bad. Then we had 1 good, 2 bad. Or we're going to have 1 good, 1 bad, and then 1 good again. Yes. Yes. The math proves it, guys. The numbers do not lie. They do not lie. So final episode is going to be good. Stating it here first. That's me.
If they can wrap everything up with a nice little bow by the end of the last episode, I would be okay. I would be happy.
Mhm.
But if we continue this non-helmet wearing talkity talk,
Mhm.
I'm not going to be happy.
Well, Chief is going to end up on Madrigal at some point. I feel that. sure.
Yeah, I think you're correct with that.
And I feel the more the show continues and I keep trying to plug in what I think is going to happen for the next couple of shows, I feel like we're going to see some sandwiches, some Chief. We're going to see some Quan pretty heavy soon, like probably next episode, honestly, because I feel like we're going to get one of them 50-50 split sort of episodes where it's going to be like Chief in a flashback with Halsey again. Or we're going to get a McKee flashback because we haven't had one of those in about 3 episodes. And somehow that flashback is going to make you connect to why Chief and McKee have a connection. And that connection is going to lead them to a portal. And the portal is going to be on Madrigal. And then they're going to go to Madrigal. And then Quan's going to be like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. What am I supposed to do? We got to talk to the sandwiches. The sandwiches are going to tell me what to do.
They'll tell me what to do.
And Chief's going to go, I'm hungry. I know. So
But
are
we
you.
have to go do this first.
I need to get to Halo. Like I need to make it to Halo. We got to do this thing first. Yes. And then they're going to slow the whole show down. But yeah, I would love to see the episode at number 9. If it is the final one, which they're saying it is for season 1, I would like to see it stop with, like I've said once already, they land on Halo and they get into battle. There's some battle that happens and somehow we either run into Guilty Spark or something to explain what Halo is to us. And then we get like a cool, everybody hops into a warthog. pelicans get up, they're flying. You have mongooses, and
You have big hopes.
just picture it. Just picture it.
I don't want to
Like,
picture it, because then when it doesn't happen, I'm going to be upset.
Picture it
Because
you can,
because you're telling me it's possible.
you can put it in place in your brain and just pretend.
Oh, just
so
picture it to make it happen. Visualize what you want. Is
no,
that
no,
what
no,
you're saying?
no. When it doesn't happen, you just pretend it did.
Oh,
You see what I
okay.
mean?
Okay. All right.
So then you can get through the summer until next year and stuff. But the camera pans out, and it's Chief driving the Warthog, and it's all a pelican on each side, and there's a couple mongooses, and they're just tearing ass into the halo. Camera pans away, slowly fades to black, and you're like, fuck yes, we're getting some action next season. You know what I mean? Like that's a hope and a dream that I would love to see on screen. 100%. I would love it. It'd be great.
I need Chief and Cortana to make up as well, by the way.
Oh yeah, they will. Yeah. Yep. I feel like that's imminent. That has to happen before the end. If they don't hook you at the end of this season as a Halo fan, next year, half the amount of viewers are gone, maybe 75%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like, they've got some big things to fill before the end of episode 9.
Oh, I know. I know what's going to happen. I just, in my brain, I'm like thinking about cool shit could be. You know what I mean? I did that as a kid. I still do it today.
The thing of it is like, in the day and age and the way TV and movies are made now, those things are possible.
No.
People could do them.
Duh.
They also have the ability on the show to have made that stuff happen already, but have chose to go a different path.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, there's so many badass things in my head right now that they could do that would be so simple, and they would satisfy fans to no fucking end, because all you got to do is give us a little bit. You gave us 10 minutes in one episode, and we were like, holy shit, yes. And the other 40 minutes were just like, what the fuck's going on?
Whatever.
But you ended it with 10 minutes of badass stuff, and we just went fucking awesome episode. Love the whole thing. We're done. That kind of thing. And all they would have to do is literally, they just end the episode. I can think of it right now. They could end episode 9, season 1 with a simple, like, Pelican runs through at the top. Chief is on Halo. She pulls in and she's like, hey, Chief, Foehammer here. And when you hear her say Foehammer, people are going to be like, oh, fuck yeah. They're going to be like, that's what I'm talking about. She's going to be like, I got a package for you. And she's going to drop a fucking Warthog from that Pelican. She's going to go to fly off. And on that, you're going to have Sergeant Johnson on the back of that son of a bitch. And he's like, cigar and Maz, you're like, Chief, where we going to fight? And it's over. It could be over right there. And everybody like, oh, I'm getting chills thinking about it. I'm fucking not even kidding. I'm like, that would be dope. Like, just end it. Chief walking up to the thing, like, badass. Him and Cortana spouts out a fucking one-liner at the end or something, but like, how about I find you that weapon now? Something like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, boom. It's writes its fucking self, man. Like, just do that. Like, it's not that hard. Like, Heather's perfectly right. She's not wrong at all. Like, it's so simple to do. And I'll be honest,
they have the material right in front of them to do it. Like, it's not like they have to come up with this on their own.
They don't have to change the material. I would say play with the material.
Exactly.
Leave it in there. Play with it. Move it around.
Why are we going a whole different direction? Why are we taking so many liberties with something that's so beloved and could be so fucking fantastic? Yep. That's what drives me the most nuts. Like, that's what irritates me the most about it. And like, I don't know. I knew this episode was going to be filler, and I had a feeling it was going to be a lot of Quan and Soren. We hadn't seen them in a while, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, we talked about this on previous episodes. We knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is like, speaking to what can happen and what they can do, it's like, as far as the expectations go, like I said, they don't have to have a lot in there. We have a lot of fun with this show. And the thing of it is, Heather and I, we don't have high expectations. Like, I didn't have them going into the show.
No.
I just had expectations. Like, I didn't have 0, but I was like, okay, I could see what they could do here. But honestly, like, listen to how low we just said our exptions are. Like,
I know, that's
give us some action, give us some cool one-liner dialogue that can be play on words instead of like, like I just said a minute ago, drop in that Warthog, hear Foehammer's voice, dropping it in with her call, her name called, have Johnson in there and have Cortana with a one-liner. That's only 4 things we're asking for in the last like like 4 minutes, 3 minutes of an episode and play on words that are already in there instead of like, well, what are you going to do with this, Chief? Finish this fight. You know what I mean? Drop Sergeant Johnson in there and have him say like, cigar in mouth. All right, Chief, where are we going to finish the fight? You know, do something like that. You're not taking anything from the game. You're playing with it.
Yeah.
And then have Chief look over at Cortana and just give a nod. He doesn't have to say a word and have her go, how about I find that weapon for you? Done. Like put a fork in it. I am pumped. I am ready for season 2. That's what
it's gotta end like that though.
I know.
Or I'm not going to be like, hey, I'm pumped for season 2. If it literally ends badly, I'm going to be so disappointed.
I think I still hold on to a very small, like silver lining, piece of silk, very, very thin, very, very weak string that they know better than to end it badly. If they don't end it on some sort of an enormous, like, punch in the gut, like I am in Halo. We finally got through these 9 episodes to get to this point. I am pumped for season 2. I'm on the hook with no worm. I'm good. You know what I mean? Like if they don't do that,
but if
they
knew
are
better,
screwing up.
We wouldn't be going through what we're going through.
No, see, I think that's the thing I said about earlier. They're trying to make 9 seasons and they're taking too long. And the thing of it is, they have not shot 2 seasons of this show.
No, they have not. And that's the other thing.
But listen, like they've only done 1 season, which means they've done storytelling to this point. Then they're going to have a season's worth of feedback. And if they don't listen, they only have 1 more season and their show's fucked. It's gone. Like it's not going to last past 2 seasons if they don't listen to the mistakes that were made that the fans are saying. This is very similar to when they put out the first trailer to Halo Infinite and the fans destroyed it. Okay. I should have been one of them because thank God there were fans out there who said stuff because it made the game better. The game is amazing, but they fixed it. They went, oh shit, we got to push the game back. We got to start over some things. We got to, tweak some things, tighten it up, that kind of thing. And I think that if they don't have something similar in mind for the show, then they're not going to keep a show going. And it's too big of a show for them to let that happen to. I think they're going to have to make sure they follow through with what the fans want. Because who are they making the show for? Not themselves, the fans. They're what pay you. You know, it's like customer's always right.
My like perfect scenario would be that it ends great, right? On Paramount Plus. But then the fans are like, it was okay season. You told too much storytelling. They give their opinion on it. And then HBO Max swoops in and is like, we're taking this.
Not going to happen. It's made them too much money already. They'll keep it for 2 seasons. They've already confirmed that. Now, not to say that it won't leave after something like that, possibly, but I think it's only going to leave Paramount Plus if it fails. We're like, you know what? We'll pick it up. Go ahead. You're going to give it up. We'll take it for, pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
And go from there.
I mean, I just don't like Paramount Plus.
Well, we've talked about that enough. Yeah, it's very poor. But anyway, that's kind of our thoughts. I know we ranted a little bit there about what we want to see. And hey, maybe we'll be right. Who knows? Maybe we won't be. Either way, it's still fun to chat about it. And well, we had to make the episode fun in some way because boy, oh boy.
It was not.
Chief, right here, guys. Right behind me. YouTube, go check him out because he's dope.
The sandwiches.
Yeah, the sandwiches. Let us know what kind of sandwiches you guys like out there too. We'd like to talk sandwiches every once in a while on Loud Thumbs. So there's no problems with sandwiches. Do you enjoy milk with your peanut butter and jelly, or what do you prefer? BLTs? Do you not like the tea on the BLTs? I don't know, but how about dessert sandwiches?
Dessert sandwiches
or dessert? Yeah, 2 scoops. But we're going to see more sandwiches, and I'm sure we'll be talking about them more here in the future. Hopefully you guys are having fun with these. We're doing our best to make them fun as we can because they aren't the funnest to talk about.
They're not giving
honestly.
us the best, material to work with.
Hopefully we're giving you worthwhile content because they're not right now.
Yeah.
And you're enjoying listening to us rant about what we really want to see and why we shouldn't have been seeing what we have been seeing.
This is the longest you've got to see Master Chief's helmet.
Master Chief in a helmet, guys.
In the whole time.
Like 45 minutes, full episode worth.
Of him in his helmet.
In helmet. Looking beautiful.
Looking gorgeous.
He
Nice
is
and shiny.
the man. John 117 right there, guys. Throw a loud thumbs out to him when you get time. We appreciate it. Once again, reach us again next week. We'll be back again. We're going to put these out on Fridays or Saturdays, and hopefully you guys are enjoying them. We're still having fun making them. Heather, I might not have next year, but that's okay. I'm enjoying it while it lasts. But until next week, guys, everybody out there, stay loud,